Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Kylie. Before I launch into what I'm going to show you, I do need to apologize for the light. We have torrential rain again. So anyway, I'm not going to dwell on that. It looks like a journal, but it's not actually a journal. What I have made and am going to show you today is what I call a stitches storage folder. I am falling down the rabbit hole of embroidery and possibly crochet if I can find my crochet needles. I don't know where they are. I have looked everywhere. And if I had made this sooner, I wouldn't have this problem. Okay, so it is a place where you can store some of your embroidery and crochet things. I say some of because let's be honest, we all usually have bulging storage containers for all of these things, but this is really handy if you want to travel or you want to craft outside of your craft room and you don't want to keep going back and forwards to get your resources and supplies. So, and these are not a new thing. But I have made mine slightly different to the ones that I've seen and collected in the past because I feel that there's a couple of things that a lot of the other storage folders maybe don't have that I need. So it's not that I'm trying to be better than everyone else. It's actually because there's certain storage pockets that I find that I need and I haven't found it in anything else. So what I've done is, and I will just explain to you the cover first. So it is a cover. I have patchworked different fabric onto a white piece of linen. So there's one piece of linen underneath all of the patchworked fabric. Okay. And I have done a beautiful little embroidery here on the front. So that's from an Etsy shop called Little Green Stitches. It's the PDF. It's the PDF pattern, and I've just added a little bit of detail around the blossoms. Something that I think I will definitely do in the future. I did it's called a split stitch around the edge, because I could still see the black, very fine marker that I used to trace the pattern, and I didn't like it, so I covered it up with a split stitch. So if you like the look of that, that's what I did. And I've just collaged a couple of other things on the cover. So that's a little quilted button. I got this idea from a magazine with the little French knots in the center, but I've done a blanket stitch around the edge just to, because it is a piece of quilting, I wanted it to sort of sit more flat. So that feature I've sort of added myself. And on the front here, I have two bobbin cards or thread holders. There's different ways of sort of explaining this contraption. So it is a piece of cardstock with some beautiful vintage wallpaper on it, and it has a little split here for you to slot your thread into as you wind it around, and then you can sort of hold the end in that little slit there as well. So that's sort of just to hold your thread onto the card. And that this one is good for crochet thread, because you sort of have a fair amount of storage for one color. And this one here is for embroidery floss or embroidery thread, and it has a little slit in each section, so you can actually put 4 different colored threads on this card, because when you're doing an embroidery you tend to use different colors. You can also obviously for crochet, so this is sort of just, you know, a little fun thing to have in this folder. So It's called a folder because inside it does have different sections for storage. Now, before I launch into all the different parts, and I will explain why I have paintbrushes. The most important thing that I've added to mine is this section here. So this is a piece of quilted fabric, and that is the front piece of white linen. Sorry, there's a little piece of grass there. I'm not sure how that got in my craft room. It's because I like to take my pattern with me, whether it's a crochet pattern or whether it's an embroidery pattern, and usually I like to have a colored picture of what it should look like. I don't always take the actual pattern because usually that's on a piece of fabric, but that's something that you can put in that part there as well. And then you usually have your thread colors and what stitches you need to do for each part if you're following the pattern closely. So as you can see, you do usually have quite a few different thread colors. So that is why I have created this big pocket at the back, and I've used quilted fabric because some of the other folders that I have, they were quite floppy, and I like when you open it, you don't want everything to fly out because it's not structured. So I've used thick quilted fabric to add a little bit of structure. I've also done this in my shabby chic style. So a lot of other kits that you buy specifically, everything will be a little bit more streamline. I'm not sure how to put it. Perfect. Anyway, so in this, in my design, I have a big pocket here that for your embroidery hoop, and that tends to be the size that I like to use. You could probably put one that's a little bit bigger, but this one I think is a 12 centimeter or 4.5 inch embroidery hoop. I measure the inside obviously, so that fits very comfortably in that pocket there with enough space so it's not sticking out and going to fly out when you open your folder. Here is the template that I actually used for the one on the front cover, so you can see it's the same, but this one is actually full of the thread, and you can see that I've used the little slit there to hold the floss. Oh, so that's a little extra thing for you. So I've just put that there to show you that there's a pocket here that's deep enough to hold something like this, or one of these smaller bobbin cards, so that fits in really beautifully there. There's a little place here for a pair of scissors. Look how gorgeous these little antique scissors are from England. Absolutely useless because they have come undone, but I just use them. I just got them because they're just super sweet. So embroidery scissors should be able to fit there, so that can also, it goes down into the pocket, but it can sit like that as well. And I'll just show you that there's a little pocket here too at the front. So that's something that I found was a little bit lacking in some of the other folders, was enough little pockets for all the little weird things that I like to take with me. Here is your needle keeper. So this is where you can stick your needles if you want. I tend to like to keep mine in the container, so I've made it into a pocket as well, but it is quilted, so I'll just hopefully demonstrate without stabbing myself too badly at how you can use it for your needles. So you can stick your needles in the actual quilted patch, or you can put them behind. The reason I have paintbrushes here is because I can't find my crochet hooks. They're somewhere, obviously packed, ready to go, because we are going on a little weekend away this weekend. And this is what I love to do to sort of relax. So I've used paintbrushes to demonstrate that this is also another little place that you can put your embroidery hooks, because it goes right down into this pocket here, and embroidery hooks tend to be a little bit shorter than the paintbrushes. So that's another space for hooks. Or if you have another pair of favorite scissors, that it can fit there, but the scissors may actually hang outside of the folder. That's why I've sort of got those ones there. And again, here I have a pocket, a nice big pocket, so you can fit a couple of these cards in here and a couple in here. And this is something a little bit cute that I did. So there is also a pocket here, and this pocket, if you have scissors that won't fit, or something that is a bit that you think might get lost, I've got a little lace pocket here that closes with the buttons, so it will be a little bit more secure in that pocket. So I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the front, 8 pockets for all your bits and pieces, because it will fill up, as you know. And yeah, so to summarize my very random video, I'm very sorry if this is confusing, but I'm calling this a stitches storage folder, and it's for anyone who loves embroidery or crochet or any other stitching. Not sure about knitting. I think if you knitting needles, a set of knitting needles would actually fit here. This is A4 sized, a little bit bigger than A4 size, so if your knitting needles fit in there, or even stick out the top, would be kind of cute. You could actually even use this for knitting, and possibly, you know, put your skeins of wool or whatever you're knitting with in this big pocket. It would be a bit bulgy, but that's kind of fun. I'm just going to take everything out so we can sort of see it without all the bits and pieces in it. And I've left a fair length here in case it does sort of bulge a bit. If you did have wool in here, and you didn't sort of have these things in the pocket, it would be more sort of round, but because the cover is made of fabric, it's really flexible, so you could definitely do that. Yeah, so this, I think, is a game changer for me, because I don't embroider in my craft room. I have a more comfortable chair elsewhere in the house, and I really loathe coming back downstairs into my craft room. So this is going to be fantastic for me. So I've made one for myself. It's not as pretty as this one, obviously, because I just wanted to, it's the prototype, which is packed. I should have actually showed you just how much I managed to jam in it, but I've got limited time. So yes, so lots of pockets, especially this nice big pocket here for your pattern, because if you're like me, I pretend to follow the pattern. I often change things in the pattern, but I like to know what I'm changing as well as what I should be doing, but I'm not. Yeah, so I'm going to be making more of these, so they will be a regular feature in my shop, and I do have I will have a few in there. They will be using this rose pattern. Oh, I should point out, in case you didn't notice, because my hands have been moving all over it, I have little mini rose patches on the inside, so there'll be some embroidery, some vintage and new fabrics they will be shabby chic because I do prefer the raw edge. I think when something's not too perfect, you're more likely to really use it. And there'll be these 2 cards included to start you on your little thread storage journey. So if you do have your threads everywhere, I highly recommend. And what I do, this video is meant to be short, but obviously it's not going to be. What I do is, if I have a pattern, I obviously put the threads on a thread storage card. But if I'm free styling it, this would be kind of like a little rose kit, so it would be sort of similar colors that I would maybe use to embroider a rose, and that's a nice way of storing just those random colors into sort of little mini kits for yourself in your mind. Anyway, that probably doesn't make sense. That's okay. The rain is getting to me. I'm just really feeling like, oh, moldy and damp and yep. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Hopefully that made sense. And yeah, keep an eye on my shop because I'm probably not going to do another video because I've kind of shown you what is in the actual folder. I'm just going to randomly put them in my shop as I make them. And I'm really enjoying this at the moment. So it's a nice break from journals. I am making a journal, but I'm making it a little bit more slowly than normal. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a marvelous evening, morning, day, weekend. Bye.